Flosstube. My name is Emer and I am the Irish Stitcher. Welcome to my channel. It has been a while since my last video. I think it was in January, and life's been busy for a while. I didn't really get a lot of stitching done, and then there was a lot of stitching, but life was busy, so I didn't have time to make a video. I'm full of excuses basically. But I'm back today. I have a lot to show you. I have some progress on my whips, I have a finish, I have a new start, and I have plenty of haul. Why do I have haul? Well, I went to the Essex Needle Retreat in Stansted in March and picked up a few bits and pieces. Some of it was planned, and then other bits and pieces were on the D-stash table and just, they were too nice to let go. You know how it is. But I'm going to start off with some of the progress on my whips first of all. And first up, we have the very tall lady herself, Patty. I have been working on, one moment while I fold her up. I have been working on the lower half of her skirt. It doesn't look like much at the moment. She's only gotten a few days work since January. But I've been kind of extending that out and filling that little bit in. I do want to get back to working on her and put in some serious stitching. It's just, I forget how big she is. Like, she's so tall, and she's going to be even taller with the halo and even wider with the like baskets that she's got. She really is beautiful finished. So I just need to kind of get working on her, stop making excuses and go. Oh, and by the way, she's on a 32 count linen by XU Designs. I think the color is Bright Forest. It's really hard to photograph with my camera, but I think the video's picking up reasonably true to color. It's maybe a bit richer than the video's picking up. Next up is my long dog. I have made quite a bit of progress on this. I got really into it. It was just really nice to work with, you know, one color, not a lot of changing. And I have the pattern in the Pattern Keeper app as well. So it was really nice and straightforward just to mark it off, and it would count my stitches for me, which was very motivating. I don't miss it when I don't have access to counting stitches. When I have access to it, I'm like, oh, well, that was 100 stitches. I can do another 100. Let's go. So yeah, it's a nice to have. This fabric is by Sparklies. It is an 18 count Ada. I think in the colorway Fleeteus or Ocean Depths. Actually, I think this is Ocean Depths. Yeah, really enjoying that. Loving how the white, or the kind of the beigey creamy stitching pops off. I was thinking I'm still going to stitch the rest of the border before I do in the fill-in bits, but I think I'll do the fill-in bits mostly in this cream, and then have one element in each like motif that I do in a different color. For example, one of the motifs is a greyhound, and the pattern gives a little bit of context that the greyhound is actually based on a dog named Violet, and that's why the flowers are violets above her. So I think I might do the flowers in a really pale lilac color. I know violets are violet, but I still want the tone to match the cream. I don't want anything too bold. I still want it nice and subdued, but I think the little pops of color will bring interest to each individual motif rather than it all being entirely one color. Next up is Year of Flowers. I spent like a day on this, but it's still progress, so I'm going to show you. I finished off May. I had it's probably going to be hard to pick up because it's white on a pale fabric, but I had those stitches, the little white flowers to do for May, and then I made a start on June. I will get this finished this year, I know, without a doubt. I'm in a cross stitch Discord server, and we did our first stitch along was a themed stitch along in March. I'm going to be doing another one in June, and the theme for that one in June is flora and fauna. So in June, expect a finish on this. Hope I don't regret saying that. But yeah, that'll be good fun. Oh, I'm on to haul. Great. I'm going to show you this one first because I have started it. This is called Chubby Bird by Jeanette Douglas Designs. I thought it was very cute. At the Essex Needle Retreat, there was a finishing table and there were so many beautiful finishes, but some that really stood out to me were, I mean, they all stood out, but the fully finished, like small select little pin cushions, or the biscornu. I hope I'm not mispronouncing that. And I actually would love to try find a little pie dish to finish this in and turn it into a little pin cushion. And I don't know, it just struck me that I should do more really tiny little pieces and actually fully finish them and have these little ornaments because they're just beautiful. And this is my progress so far. I hope the camera's picking up. This fabric has, I think it might be a bit bright. This fabric has, it's cream at the top and it is pink at the bottom, like a really pale, not candy floss pink, but I don't know, like a really pale pink lemonade kind of pink. This is a scrap piece of fabric from Sparklies. It was this size when I got it. I think, I'm fairly certain it's 32 count. I'm not using the called for colours because it was calling for 2 brands of specialty floss, you know, like the Week Style Works, Classic Colour Works, stuff like that. So I'm just using DMC. The pink on its belly is actually a Classic Colour Works that I had lying about, but it's not the one that was called for. I just saw it and I was like, oh, I could use that. So yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment. I thought it'd be quicker. I haven't been doing a lot of stitching this past like week and a half to 2 weeks, and I've been forcing myself to take it out and just do even a little bit, but it's been slow going. That's really small. I could have got that done in a week. Look, motivation ebbs and flows, and I'll talk a little bit about the end about kind of my own life and why it's so busy. So stick around if you want to hear about that. Next up is a piece of fabric. This is by Coffee Craft Fabrics. She was at the retreat. I bought a second piece of fabric for her, but I've made a start in it, so I'll show you it when I get to it in the pile. This is a lovely, like, kind of dusky blue purple tone. I think the camera's picking it up reasonably well. It's maybe a little bit more purple. And I bought this because there was a finish on the finish. Okay, I didn't quite find out whose finishes they were, but somebody had finished, or it might have been multiple people, had finishes on the finishing table, and whoever picked the frames, beautiful. I have never seen frames matched so perfectly. It was just really, really gorgeous. Like the size of them matched well. It was framed with museum glass, which, if you don't know, is the non-reflective glass. I understand it's a bit more expensive to use, but like worth it if you want people to admire your stitching without the risk of like light bouncing off the glass. But anyway, somebody had stitched a piece, can't remember the name of it, but I'm going to insert a picture here of what it's going to look like. I was able to find, I went and actually bought this at the retreat. I was so excited. The pattern was kind of like part of a collaboration released as a kit. I wasn't able to find the kit, but I was able to find someone selling on the pattern on Etsy. So I'm still waiting that to be delivered like a month on. I bought this fabric as a close match. I've got the threads all ordered. I'm just waiting on the pattern, and I feel like as soon as I get it, I'm going to start it. Really, I should try to finish Chubby Bird. Maybe I'll get it finished before it arrives. Yeah, very excited. I don't know, it's a nice feeling to see something and just be like, yes, I want this, I want to stitch it, I want it in, I took a picture of it to be like, I'm going to try find a similar frame because it was just, it's perfectly framed. Next up, this was a gift from the lovely Susie. If you're watching, thank you. This is McGuigan. Ta-da! This is the Bella. Okay. Oh, here she is again in bigger. Susie had bought this, realised she wasn't going to stitch it, and very kindly passed it on to me. Very excited. I don't have a fabric in mind for her at all. I kind of like the fabric they have her on. It looks almost like an old weathered parchment kind of thing, which works for the sailing. So like maybe it's like a map or something that she's standing in front of. I'm not sure. This little photo has her kind of on a lilac-y fabric, and I like that. My partner Alan, he was really impressed when I showed him this, just how like the colours and how shiny her dress looks, how rich it looks. It really, really looks like she's wearing silk. And she's just beautiful stitched up. And Maguayan is the deity of the sea and the underworld. She ferries souls to the realm of the afterlife. She is a calm and nurturing provider of fisher folk, which I think is quite nice. Normally in mythology, like the gods of death or the gods of the underworld are like scary and mean. But it's like, oh, I like that. I feel like if I was, you know, if I had to pick a mythology, I'd want one where like, oh yes, we've got this kind deity. Anyway, next up, this was part of the raffle. There was a raffle and a bingo. I didn't win anything in the bingo. I won like frankly an obscene amount of tickets in the raffle, and I was kind of like passing them around the table because I'm like, I can't go up 4 times in a row. That's a bit much. Yeah, I picked this little one up. It's going to be really hard to see. This is Spring Has Sprung by Country Cottage Needleworks. I don't know if you're going to get any of the detail at all, but it's really pretty. It's like a tall, narrow one. It says Spring Has Sprung, and there's little rabbits hopping about hills. Really cute. It is something I would stitch, I think, and include it in my little, whenever I finally get round to having a seasonal display, that would obviously go in spring. Yeah. Next up, this was on the D-stash table, Fracture Flowers by Laddie Da. No, sorry, this wasn't on the D-stash table. I was buying the threads online, and I decided that while I was ordering that, I'd order a couple of patterns. Should I have done that? Probably not, but did I do it anyway? Yes. So yeah, I thought this was really cool. At the retreat, I saw a lot of people stitching those kind of like, I don't know, these aren't samplers, but like this style of piece, I don't know how to describe it. I've got another pattern. This one was actually from the D-stash table, a Red Cottage by Plum Street Samplers. But you know the idea, it's got a house or like something like that. It's got plants. I just thought these were really cool. They're both red. Yeah, I like them. I likes it. But seeing that kind of thing at the retreat, I was like, oh, I should stitch some of that, because I still love my fancy ladies, don't get me wrong, but I do stitch in them a lot. So sometimes I see something like that, I'm like, oh, that'd be nice to branch out a bit. Because like I don't stitch full coverage, like those massive heaven and earth designs. They're beautiful, they're just not for me. So it'll be nice, I think, to have a second style of piece that I like, as well as the ladies that I can work on. It's really, there are only so many ladies I can display in my house. But anyway, next up, this is a Prairie Schooler 2021 Santa. I love this one. My mother always really liked kind of like old-timey Santas, where like obviously he's still got his red coat on and everything, but it's maybe not like the bright cherry red, like it's not the colour of my top, it's maybe that like more subdued red, or he's got kind of like, this one is animals, that really fits it, or I don't know, stuff like that. We have this really gorgeous Christmas train ornament at my parents' house, and everybody comments on it because it's gorgeous, it's so cute, but it's really like old-timey steam train, and so anything like that I found myself gravitating towards, just because we had it at home when I was younger. So I'm going to stitch that Santa, and I think it's really cute that he's got all the wildlife. Next up is another Christmas design, and this was again a de-stash table acquisition. This is Wreath House by Hands On Design. This is part of a trio. So you can see there that the idea is that you stitch 3 and you pull them for the holidays. And I've just got the middle house, and honestly I think the middle house on its own is cute enough to merit stitching. Like I said, I was on my I should stitch more smalls kick at the retreat, so this was a small. I saw it and went for it. You've already seen one chubby bird. Time for another chubby bird. This big lad. Look at him! I wasn't going to buy anything from the de-stash table, and then I kept going back to this little dude. Feathering the Nest by Just Another Button Company. Yeah, I've never heard of them. He's so round. I love him so much. It's just a little orb. A bird orb, a borb. Previous owner has written here that they stitched on Picture This Plus Moss. I think I know the colour. That would be like great. I don't know what I do with them when I finish them, but I just had to have him. He's so cool. Anyway, I mentioned that I won in the raffle, and I was actually the first number to be called, so I had my pick of all the prizes, and there were a lot of very generous donations. I actually de-stashed quite a few patterns, but to the raffle I donated the Rosewood Manor and then a Forest Screw, because I was never going to stitch it. I still think it's beautiful. I love it, but it is freaking huge. It is massive. I would never get it finished. So I just knew that I had to pass it on, and yeah, it's fine. I don't know why I suddenly feel a little like melancholic, like I sent my child out into the world. It's fine. I'm glad that it's gone to a home where it'll actually get stitched. But what did I pick up in the raffle, you might ask? This project bag. This is by the lovely Susie, who gave me my coin. So I won this in the raffle. It was a gorgeous quilted project bag, and inside, I'll show you one side first. So one side has there's a pouch in here where I've actually put a pattern for storage, and then this unzips, you keep all your bits and pieces in there. On the other side are pockets for they're bobbin sized. They do also fit floss straps. I'll show you. I have a second one where I've actually just put the skeins of floss in them. Really cute. And additionally, what I've been keeping in the bag for safekeeping is a finish. Ta-da! I was so excited to finish her. She's beautiful. Look at those beautiful dewdrops all around her legs and the beads on her wings. I'm trying to get them to catch the light a little bit. Beautiful big treasure drop, and even her bracelet is so cool. I was kind of on the fence about the bracelet because I thought it was a little bit odd. Everything else was like blue, green, and a little bit of yellow, and then once I had it stitched in, I'm like, oh no, that little bit of pink is actually a little bit of contrast that's needed. So happy I finished her at the retreat, and it was so much fun to get a finish at a retreat. It was announced and everybody clapped and we were coming over to look at her, and it was such a nice feeling. I really felt like I'd achieved something. I stitched her, I arrived Thursday night, so I did a little bit of stitching Thursday night, and then Friday I was working on her. Shop wasn't open until Saturday, So I finished the actual stitching Friday. The shop opened at like 10:30, I think, or 11:30 on Saturday. So I ran upstairs. I'd pre-ordered the beads from Hawkins Hobbies. So I picked them up, finished my shopping, ran back downstairs. I was like, right, I'm going to get beading. And at like 5 minutes before lunchtime, so like 5 to 1, I finished her. So proud. But anyway, Susie also had some bags for sale. I bought this one as well. It's the same style as this one, and I just thought it was really cool. Like, this is a brighter color, so I was like, oh, this is daytime and this is nighttime. I just thought it was cute. And in here, I have another new start. I had ordered this one again from Hawkins Hobbies as a kit, so I have everything I need. And it is Thistle by Nora Corbett. I really enjoyed stitching dewdrops. I've had my eye on Thistle for ages, and I kind of realised that I like how quickly the Noras stitch up. So let me just pull out the fabric. This fabric is also by Coffee Craft Designs, and again, it's 32 count opalescent even weave. Look at the progress I've made. She's been coming along really quickly. I like it. I have all of her dress done except for the beads, and all of her skin is actually also done. So she's going to have hair, the big kind of thistle flower coming out of her head, and then she's got those gorgeous green boots, and of course her big leafy wings. I just think she's really cool. She's part of the Poison Pixies like range series, whatever. I just like that they've like a little bit of edge to them. I think it's really cool. So again, I'll just show you. I've got the skeins in here. I actually do have some of them on floss straps. My friend Claire, she made floss straps and brought them to the retreat. I have 2 key rings here, and they're stuck together with a needle minder. These are really cute. They're all in like funky colours and patterns. I think they're really cute. It was really kind of Claire to make them. So yeah, I did also pick up this needle minder just because I saw it and thought it was funny. No idea what I'm doing. It's a fun one. And I've actually also, when I was working with the Mill Hill beads, I didn't like how the little like plastic things would like pop open when you open them, and I was really afraid of it like spraying my beads everywhere. So I had these little cases from Flying Tiger, and I picked up some more little jars from Pennies. Pennies were great. They had these little tubs for like 6 for €1.50, I think. So check out your Primark for them. They were in the makeup section with the travel toiletries. So I think I assume these are meant for like creams and stuff, but I'm using them for beads. So what I've done is I have put the label, I put the type of bead and the number on the top, and then on the side, just in case I like lose the lid or something. I just didn't want to take any chances. Yeah, I think it's great. So I had a really satisfying evening where I just sat down, labelled all the little jars, and decanted the beads, and then I had a big thing of jars that I was just like shaking. It was really, really, really satisfying. Okay, and somehow that is everything. I feel like I got through that quicker than I expected to. Sorry for shaking the camera there. I have the tripod it's only a little one, so it's clipped to the back of a chair. I've been using the seat of the chair as a shelf for the stuff, so I think I shook you there. Yeah, I said I'd talk a little bit about life stuff, so if you're just here for the stitching, thanks for watching. If you'd like to stay on, by all means do. We have been really busy with the house. If you haven't watched my channel before, my partner and I, we bought a house at the end of last year. Structurally the house is fine, but it's got a lot to be done. For example, I'm not a fan of the wallpaper behind me here. It's kind of funky. I think it could work as like an accent wall, but the room is small, and that brown, very dark, and it makes the room feel smaller. So stuff like that is really what we want to change. But we've been getting bits and pieces done. we hadn't intended to do anything to the outside until we had some really bad weather and the roof blew off our shed. We got up one morning, looked out the window and went, didn't that shed have a roof last night? So we had to get a new shed. No, we got a gorgeous, really nice new shed. I didn't care about it, and then we got the shed and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. It's got windows in it and everything. So we got the new shed. People came and took away. No, we had to get rid of the old one. They put the new one up. We broke down the old one. We got a skip, so the shed went into the skip. We dismantled we're not in the master bedroom at the moment because it needs doing up. We got rid of the bed. We sawed that up. We got rid of the wardrobe. I say we. Alan dismantled the furniture and I helped carry bits outside. He did a lot of the work. We have got new windows. Most of the house had modern windows except 2 windows that were, so any of the windows that were front facing were done, and any of the windows on the ground floor were replaced like less than 10 years ago. But so that left 2 windows that needed replacing, so we got them replaced, and oh, really nice. The bedroom we're in at the moment, it overlooks a park. So previously it had been kind of like 2 narrow panes of glass split in the middle, and now we've got one big. The windows in this house are weird. They're floor to ceiling. I've never seen that before moving here. But the middle pane now in the bedroom is just one giant square, so you can kind of like sit in the bed and you're looking into the park. And we got them replaced on Holy Thursday. So Easter Friday was the next day, and we both had it off work. A lot of people had it off work. So I was kind of just like sitting on the bed and everybody was out in the park. People were walking their dogs, kids were out playing. I'm like, this is a really lovely view. Really nice. Of course, the master bedroom faces the front of the house, so we're just going to be looking out at the cul-de-sac, I guess. So yeah, that happened. And then I was baking one day and the oven died. It was as though we hadn't been spending enough money. The oven died. Again, this was actually, oh my god, this was Easter Saturday. The oven died. It was like 2 days after we got the windows. And we weren't going to replace it because the oven is separate to our stovetop. We have an air fryer, so we're like, we can maybe muddle along for a while, until I noticed that like an electronics and appliances shop was having an Easter sale. So I was like, right, we'll get an oven when it's on sale. And they came, they took away the old oven, they replaced the broken oven. Obviously we bought a new oven. They actually give you a discount if you're like recycling the old one through them. So it was like happy days. I don't have to deal with getting rid of an oven, and they reward us for using them to get rid of it. So that happened. And we are getting the biggest thing before we can change anything like the wallpaper or anything fun and aesthetic. We have to get the house rewired. Basically, the downstairs was probably rewired about 20 years ago, so is technically fine, but the upstairs hasn't been touched since it was built in the 60s, and all of the rooms have like one socket, which like when we're working from home isn't great, because like we're using the box room as an office, so we've both got, like I have a laptop and a second monitor and there's a printer, and we're running a lot of electricity out of that one socket. So things like that, we want more sockets upstairs. The electrician basically said, look, you can just do the upstairs and it'll be cheaper, but in like 20 years time you'll need to do the downstairs again. So we're like, do all of it, get it all done at once. So that's happening next month, which is really exciting, but also a little bit stressful because we have to move out of the house for 2 weeks, and we have to have everything kind of in the middle of the rooms, like piled on top of each other, covered with dust sheets. A little bit stressful. But once they're done, that opens the way to renovating the master bedroom, which will be it'll be work and money, but it'll be fun to do things like picking the paint color, picking the floor, like stuff like that, the fun stuff. So that's happened. I am going to a LARP this weekend. I'm flying over to Birmingham and then we're getting the train down to Banbury. if you want to look it up, it's called Empire LARP. If you don't know what LARP is, live action role play. So it's like you're acting, but there's no script, and the live action part means that you actually physically walk about. So it's in about 3,000 attendees. It's in a big field. It's in multiple fields and a forest. And there's actually 16 of us going over from Ireland, which is massive. A group of my friends and I went last year for the first time. It was 5 of us. So since then it's grown to 16 of us going. It's so exciting. We have multiple group tents. I've made fudge and honeycomb to sell for in-character money, so it's pretend money, but people sell food and drink, and if you were dedicated enough to seeking out like cafes and stuff, you could hypothetically eat for the weekend without buying from the food trucks and stuff. Yeah, it's really exciting. I can't wait. Like I made my costume last year for it, and my nation's all like reds and yellows and flowing fabrics and lots of layers, which would be great for April. It's giving rain, and I really don't want it to rain because that'd be a bit miserable, but it looks like it's gonna rain. So yeah, I like to say that it really like speaks to my inner child because I get to be outside, I run about, I'm playing pretend, I'm with my friends. It's just a fantastic weekend, and I never sleep as well as I do in the field. I think it's because you've been outside all day, you've been running about, you've been on your feet all day, you've been chatting to people all day, and it might be a late night and you're just exhausted. So by the time you actually lie down, it's like you just pass out. You pass out and you wake up 8 hours later, and I'm like, I have never slept as well in my life. Yeah, it's really exciting. I'll have to show pictures in my next video because people really put a lot of effort into the costuming and the set, and yeah, it's so exciting. We had previously we just booked like a bag with Ryanair, so we had to pack very light. It was essentials only. But one of our friends, he hired a trailer, like a horse box trailer. So he drove down from the north, stopped at my house. Everyone had dropped their stuff off at my house, so I had a mountain of tents and bags and sleeping bags and everything in my kitchen. We all loaded up into the trailer, and that means when I fly tomorrow, I only have a backpack with my clothes in it. It's fab, but it means we can take a lot more. So for example, my friend who was driving the trailer, he's picked up like a standing grill thing that goes over the campfire. I'm sure there's a name for it that I don't know. So like, and in the morning times, you know, he's gonna break out the big skillet frying pan, and you know, eggs and bacon for everyone kind of thing. It's gonna be really exciting. But that's enough. That's enough about that LARP. It's enough about my weekend of playing pretend. But yeah, life's been busy, work's been busy, in a good way, you know? You know, when sometimes life's busy and you're like, I'm so stressed out, whereas this is the nice level of busy. I ran a convention. Speaking of busy, I ran a board gaming convention, so stuff like board games, card games, Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that. At the end of like the last weekend of March, first weekend of April, and we had over 200 attendees. We returned a profit. It was fantastic. I was, you know, there were moments of stress, but the actual weekend itself was lovely. My committee were phenomenal. Like I would ask that something be done, and like it had been done yesterday, that kind of thing. So like the Friday before the convention started, we were waiting to get access to the hall to set up tables. I was just kind of sitting about being like, we feel like we should be stressed, but everything's been done. It was such a calm weekend. I've worked at these conventions before, and normally you're running about panicking because somebody's forgotten to do something. But all weekend we were just like, this is so smooth. Good job, us. So I was really, really pleased. And some of the people on the committee I hadn't met before, and you know, we've since become friends. So I've arranged to have the committee over to my house for like tea and scones, that kind of thing. So I made some friends out of it to boot. It was Lovely. Really, really glad I did it. But that's the last year I'm doing it. That was my like one and done. I'm on the list. I get free entry for the rest of my life now. I have the t-shirt, literally. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Never again. I say never again like it's a bad thing, but it's the kind of thing you do once and you're like, right, that was it. That was me. Time to pass the torch to somebody else. But yeah. Leave a comment below if you've been watching my videos. I've gotten a little lovely comments lately. I really, really appreciate them. I get so happy every time I get the notification, and just, yeah. You know who you are if you've been commenting and leaving me some lovely, lovely, lovely remarks and messages to read. And I love hearing from people on what they've been doing, like if they're working on the same whip as me, what are you working on? Little things like that make my day. So thank you.